Right, so I'm going to start now with the demo on the next part of your part 2 document. So thus far on the part 2 document we have done, let's just open up the YouTube channel. So I've emailed you and posted an announcement for the link to the email to the YouTube channel as well. So let's just see if we've got all of the videos there. So NWAR 5122, right? Activity 4 was the last place that I stopped. So there's activities 1, 2, 3, and activity 4. So today we'll have a look at activity 5. So activity 5 says you need to do this on both the client and the server. And that's the last activity. Okay. So for this activity, we need to open up both the client and the server computers. So I'm going to go into my virtual computers. Where's my virtual PCs? There's it here. So from here, I'm then going to open up both my client and my server from Hyper-V. Okay, so I'm using now NWAR Server and NWAR Windows 10. So these are the two virtual computers that I'm going to be using. So let me just connect to them and start them. Now also, I've been encountering some problems with disk space. So it's important for you to use only the required virtual computers. In other words, I'm saying don't create unnecessary virtual computers because it's going to take up your disk space and you're going to run out of disk space, right? Because I'm teaching different modules, I thought I could create different virtual computers, but then I reached the capacity for the disk drive. So I might encounter some of the errors, but it's a good thing because then we all learn from the mistakes. Okay, so just use those virtual machines that is required. Also, another thing to take note of, the computer will give us errors if we run more than 2 or 3 virtual computers, okay, depending on its resources that's available. In other words, if I've got all of them open at one time, you'll see it will also give me some errors. So maximum, just use 2 at a time. Okay. So let me see now if it allows me to run both my virtual computers. Here, can you see? Could not initialize memory. There's not enough space on the disk. The virtual machine could not start because there's not enough disk space. Okay. So I'm just going to quickly go and which one is this one? MLA. Okay, so I've got other client computers that I was using here. I'm going to go and delete this one, so I'll turn it off. I'm going to delete the save state. And then I'm going to delete the virtual computer. And I'm going to go and clean some disk space here. So the files by default are stored. So I'm going to go to the File Explorer. And it should be stored under this PC. Can you see my C drive is full, right? So users, public public documents, Hyper-V, hard drives. That's where all your hard drives are stored. Okay. So as you can see, I've got multiple hard drives. Oh, what happened now? There we go. And I want to go and delete that one that I was not using. So there's a number of hard disks here. So there's my servers, Win 10, A, B, and C. Okay, let me see if it allows me to run before I go and delete these things. So my server is running, and I'm going to open up one of my other client computers. Right. So let me go and have a look at what the assignment says that I must do. To perform this task on the client and the server machines, now that you have completed the configuring of the client and the server, you need to test your user logins and ensure that the users can access the server resources. Task 1, log in with CSWIS account on any account or any other account may be used to verify that Demarcazzo access her W drive. Create a folder called assignments on the W drive, and then to ensure proper permissions have been set on the server. Create a test2 file and save it in the assignment folder. Verify that CSWARE can see and access the shared folder. Copy the test account from the shared folder to CSWARE's home directory. Okay, so I just want to go back and recap what have we done in the different activities. Okay, in activity 1, we installed the server machine. We installed Active Directory. We installed DNS, right? Then we set the IP addresses. Then what did we do next? Activity 2, on the client computer, we installed the client virtual machine that was Windows 10. We set the IP address of the client computer. We checked if the client was on the same network as the server. We joined the client machine to the domain, and then we tested the machine, test the client machine joins. Use one user account to log into the domain. Okay, we've done that. Activity 3, we were working with Active Directory. On Active Directory, we created an organizational unit called Students. In the Students organizational unit, we created sub-organizational units as well. Then we created groups and users in the respective organization. In the design organizational unit, we created these users, and then we created groups, and then we did some group nesting, which was adding one group to the next group. Okay, so that was activity 3. Then in activity 4, we created a W drive home directory. We shared the folder. We give all users access to the shared folder. We created a text file and saved it in the shared folder. And then we ensure that the user can view the shared folder and copy the shared shared files from the folder, but must not be able to delete. So it was about creating a shared folder and setting up permissions. That's what we did in activity 4, creating home directories. And then finally now, the last task is to perform on the client server machine to log in with the user's account. Okay, so we cannot do activity 5 unless we've completed the previous activities. So let's have a look. Okay, it seems to be allowing me, this is my server. There's some updates that's being installed in the background. And then this is a client machine. Okay, so I'm using one of my CNOS machines. So there'll be a bit of revision here from the last video, because in this video, I'm using a different client machine that I'm going to be using to join this server. All right. So the same process that we would go through to ensure that both the computers are on the same network, they have the same IP addresses, and then you create the different shares. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into Hyper-V. And in Hyper-V, I'm going to ensure that both of these computers are on the same network. So I've got a server here. My server, I'm going to go to its settings. And from the settings, I'm going to click on the network adapter. And I see it's connected to the NWAR switch. That's OK. Then I'm going to go to this Windows 10 computer that I'm using. I'm going to go to its settings. And I'm going to click on the network adapter. And I'm going to check, is it, see, this one's on the default switch. It's supposed to be on the NWAR switch. Okay, so firstly, they need to be physically connected to the same switch. All right. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set their IP addresses so that they are on the same network. So I will go to my client. I will look at its network connections, Ethernet. And I want to look for the adapter properties. Show change connection properties, view your, I want to go to network and sharing center. And then I want to go to Ethernet. I want to go to these properties, IP version 4 properties. I'm going to set this, give it a static IP address, 192.168.24.1. It's going to put in the subnet mask by default, and the DNS server is going to be, this is the client. So the client I'm going to make 2. And the server I'm going to make 1. Okay. So then the DNS server is going to be 192.168.24.1. Okay, so that's going to be my server. So I'll say OK and close, and then I'm going to go to my okay, so there seems to be disk errors that I'm getting here. I obviously need to go and clean more space. So my server is working. Let me go and delete some of the other files. Maybe this is going to help me. Okay, so I've got this server. I just want to see what files it's using. So this hard drive is 2016C. Okay, and this hard drive 2016A. So I can go and delete B. Okay. All right, let's just see if it allows me to open now. Right, so those virtual machines are giving me errors. Let me see if I can do it on my desktop. Okay, so I've got an Inted server and I've got NWAR server, but I don't have a client. So let me create a new client quickly. NWAR5122 win 10. Okay, so I'll have to install a client machine here. Let me go and delete PCO2. PCO2. All right, so it's allowing me now into my client computer. So the client computer I've set to 192.168.24.2, and I set it as the DNS server to be the server. Can you see I mistyped the address here? So if you mistype the address, it will not work. So always ensure that you have the correct numbers and say OK and close, close. So that's my client. If I go to my server, so in my server, I'm also going to do the same thing, set the IP address. So I'm opening Network and Sharing Center. Here again, I'll go to the Ethernet adapter properties. TCP IP version 4 properties. And I'm going to set it to 192.168.24. Okay, that's all that I need. 127.0.0.1 means it's itself. So you don't need to type in 192.168.24.1. If it uses the number 127.0.0.1, that's called the loopback address. Okay, so that means it's itself. So now both computers should be on the same network. If I go now to my assignment, it is saying, what do I need to do for activity 5? Log in with CISWE's account on any other account may be used to verify that you can access the W drive. Okay, so I needed to have created the W drive in the previous example exercise. Remember, we created the W drive previously. So I'm quickly going to just do it again because I'm using different computers now. This is, oh, I don't need this one now. Let me close this one so that I don't get confused. Okay, so here I'm at my server. I needed to have created in the previous exercise, I needed to have created my home directory for the user account. So I'm going to go back to my server, connect to my server. And I'm going to check if I've got the shared folder and the user account that's there. So let me go and check. So on the server now, if I go to the File Explorer, okay, I can see on my local disk C, I should have home directory, and then I've got my users Bugs Bunny, Donald Duck, and Mickey Mouse. Okay, so there's the shared, sorry, that's the home directory. They are talking about the shared folder. Okay, so the shared folder and the text document, there's it there that I've created previously. Now I need to go into Active Directory to check that I'm going to use Bugs Bunny as the user account. Okay, so I'll go into Active Directory and I'll go to Tools, Active Directory Users and Computers, and I'm going to look under Bugs Bunny. Is the drive mapped? Okay, so for Bugs Bunny, I'll double click, open up Bugs Bunny, and then I'll go to the Profile tab, and then I can see there's the W drive and it is mapped. Okay, it connects. This we have done in a previous video. So I'm just double checking that it's there. Now, I also need to ensure that my client computer has been joined to this domain, which is subain.com. So I'm going to check here my client computer. Are you joined to the domain? Right. So I'm in my client computer. I'm going to check that it is joined to the domain. So I right click, go to the system, and then from the system, I'll be able to see. So system, I want to go to system information. And I can see that this is called Subain MLA PC01, and it is part of a work group. I'm going to change the settings here. So we've done this in a previous video, but because I'm using different virtual computers, I need to connect them again. Rename this computer or change its domain. I want to change the domain. So I click on change, I click on domain, and then I type in the domain that I want to join, Subain N. Was it subain.com or subainin.com? Let's just see. So it is subain.com. Subain.com. Say OK. It's going to ask me for a user account. The super user account is called administrator. So I always use administrator or any account with administrator privileges. So I've joined the computer to the subn domain. It's going to now restart, and it's going to allow me to log on to that domain, subn, okay, from the client computer. Okay, so now sign in options. Okay, can you see here it says sign in to subn. That's the domain. So from the client, I'm going to try to log in as my user, which is bugsb, and my password. Username or password. Let's just see what Bugs Bunny's user account is. So account bugsb. Okay, let's just see bugsb. Is that what I used? Bugsb. And then password. Right, so it says I don't have permissions to log in remotely. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add Bugs Bunny to a group called domain admins. So Bugs Bunny, I'm going to add to group, and the group is called domain. I'm going to say check names, and then there's domain admins, and say okay. Okay. In other words, I'm giving this user permission to log in from the remote location. So I'm going to then try it again. Try again. Right, so you can see that a number of things can go wrong, and I've made all of those mistakes, and you can now see how to correct them. So I'm logging on as the client now.
I'm looking for that guy over there. They're asking for him.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so I can see now I've been logged on. Now, if I go to the File Explorer, and if I go to this PC, can you see at the bottom here, I've got a mapped network drive that is bugsb, right? There's my network location, right? And then let me just maximize that. So this drive now is the drive that I've mapped on the server, right? This is my server, my home directory drive, W drive, okay? Because I've logged on as the client computer. So What do they want in my assignment? They say log in with the user's account. Any other account may be used. So I'm using Bugs Bunny, right? Verify that the user can access the W drive. That's what I just did now, right? In my example, I can see that Bugs Bunny has access to the W drive here. Can you see? Now, create a folder called assignments on the W drive to ensure that you have proper permissions, right? And create a test2 file in the assignment folder. So now they say, go to this drive, open it, see if you can create a folder. So I right click, new folder. What did they say the folder must be called? Assignments. So can I create an assignments folder? Yes, I can create an assignments folder. It's allowing me. Go inside the assignments folder and create a new text document and call it text2.txt, right? So I can clearly see now that I can gain access to Bugs Bunny on my home directory, and I can create my assignment. I've created an assignments folder and I've created a text2 document, right? I've done what they've asked so far. What else do they say? Verify that CSWare can see and access the shared folder, okay? And then copy the txt account, text file to the shared folder to CSWARE's home directory, okay? So there should be also a shared folder that was created on the network, and that was called shared folder. So if I go now, so there's my drive that has been created. This is my home folder. Now they want to say network and discovery. I must turn it on. So let's just change network and turn on. Okay. So in other words, if I browse my network and if I go to that's the client, I want to go to the server. Let's just see if the server has been shared as well. Network and discovery is turned on the server. So this is my client. I'm now going to go to my server and see. Okay, so I want to browse to my server and then see if I can access the shared folder. Where's the shared folder? Did I create a shared folder? There's the shared folder. Okay. Is it shared? Right. So // server 201 / shared folder. From the client, let's see if I can access that shared folder. Suben in server 201 shared folder. Or I can just copy this. I want to see from my client if I can access it now. So from the client, I can go to the network path here. And type in that location. And there you go. You can see I can connect to Subench server from the client and I can access the text document, right? And they said I must copy this text document and put it onto my drive here. So I'm copying from the server and I'm now putting it onto my client document. So I could do that. Okay. Now let's see what are the screenshots that we need to take. So I've done all of this. Task 2, log on to the server machine and disable one user account. Add the test3 file to the shared folder and encrypt this file. Change the shared folder permission on the one user account to full control. Configure one user account to enforce change of password. Next, log on. Take the following screenshots, A to I. So they say I need to take screenshots and I need to show my domain for each of these things. So I need to show that I've logged on with the user's account and I can verify that I can access the drive, right? So I'm just going to copy all of these because they say for all of these, I need to take a screenshot. So I'm going to copy all of this and I'm going to put it into my assignment document under activity 5. So task 3, there's activity 4, and then activity 5. So I'm going to put all of this, and then I'm going to take the relevant screenshots now. So for the first one, it says log in and verify that you can connect to the W drive. From the client machine, I have logged in. So this is the client machine now. I'm just going to make this bigger so that I can start taking screenshots. And the client machine, right. So I want to show that I've logged in and I can access this W drive. And I also want to show that I'm working on my particular computer. So this computer, I'm going to scroll down. You can access that. But then in the background, I'm going to open up the computer's properties to show that I'm working on this particular computer, right? So let me go and open up the system properties. Right, so this is showing me all the relevant information that I need. Okay, and this one here is showing me that I have logged on with Bugs Bunny and connected to my home directory folder. So I can take a screenshot now. So new screenshot. And I'll take a screenshot that includes all of this information, right? So I can see I'm working on the correct computer. It's got my name there. And then it's also got, I've logged on with the user and this drive that I'm connected to. So I've got that information. I can go to my document, and that's the first screenshot that I can paste. Next one says, create a folder on the assignments drive. Ensure that you have proper permissions set on the server. So I've created my assignment folder. Let me go and look at my assignment folder on the client. Where's my assignment folder? Local disk, no. I needed to go inside the Bugs Bunny and create assignment, right? Now here you can see that on the top it says I've got Bugs Bunny / server. So I know where I am, and then I can see that I've created assignments and I've created text. So I'm going to take a screenshot of this one. Right, and then I'm going to paste it here. The second one is exactly the same. I mean, C is exactly the same because I've got the text document that's already been created. So I'm going to paste the same one there. Verify that CSWE can see the shared folder. So now I'm going to go to the shared folder. Where's my shared folder? So on this one here, the shared folder, we clicked on network, and then under network locations, we just pasted the / Suben, or the name of your server, in server 201 / shared folder. There's it here, shared folder, right? So now I can see that I've got this. So what am I going to do? I just want to make this one bigger so that I can see it. Let me make this wider. Right. So then this one I also want to make wider. I just want to change the view so that I can see. Um, because this is not clear. Navigation pane. Okay, so basically you would have to play around with your settings so that you can see. Right, so this is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see its server, and I wanted to see its shared folder, and then I wanted to see text document. So now I can take my screenshot. So I've accessed my shared folder, and then copy the txt doc from that document to the home directory. So I need to show that I've copied it to the home directory. So go back to my document, go back to my home directory, this PC home directory, and there's the txt document that has been copied. So I can take a picture of this. Right, so I've now completed task 1. Task 2, it says log on to the server machine and disable one user account. Right, so I'm going to go to the server machine and disable a user account. This is my client. So I'm going to go to the server, Active Directory. So on the server, I go to Server Manager, and then I go to Active Directory Users and Computers. And I'm going to disable a user account. So I'm currently logged on using Bugs Bunny. I'm going to disable Donald Duck. So I double click on Donald Duck, Account tab, and then account is disabled, right? I put a tick in here. Account is disabled. I'll need to take a screenshot now. So go and take a screenshot. So I can see I'm working on my computer, Subin in, and then I take a screenshot that says Donald Duck has been disabled. And I go back to my Word document, paste it here, do the next thing, add the test3 txt file to the shared folder and encrypt this file. So I'm going to go to the shared folder on the server. On the server, I'm going to go to the shared folder. And I need to create txt3, new text document, txt3, txt3.txt, and I need to encrypt it. So I can go to the properties of this file, go to advanced, and then encrypt contents to secure data, right? So I can see now that I'm working on, so you will need to ensure that you can see that you're working on the correct computer. So far this is not showing me, but I will need to then, I'm just going to take the screenshot, but when you're taking the screenshot, you need to ensure that behind here, you have got some identification that you're working on your server computer. So I'm going to take a screenshot. There's the txt file that has been created and it's encrypted. Then it says, change the shared folder permission of one user account to full control. So shared folder permission on the server. I right click on the shared folder, go to its properties, its permission, security. Then I'll click on edit. I'll say add. Now I've got, which user should I use? Bugs. Let's use Bugs. Check names. It finds Bugs Bunny. Say OK. And I'm going to put full control, right? So I can see that Bugs Bunny is highlighted here, and they've got full control permission on the shared folder. So then I will take a screenshot of this one. And then finally, I configure one user account to enforce a change of password in the next logon session. So how do I do that? I would go to the user accounts properties on my server. So I go back into Active Directory. And for Mickey Mouse, I'm going to go to Mickey Mouse properties. on the account tab, user must change password on next login, right? So I'm going to put a tick in that one there and take out the tick from password never expires. Then I'll need to take a screenshot of this one. And that should conclude now. All right. So that should conclude activity activity 5.